Join us at the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention, March 23rd through 26th. We'll be at booths 1113 and 1114, decked out in cosplay, selling the latest Angel of Death merch. Tickets are available via the link in the description. Hope to see you there.
Hi everyone! Welcome to today's episode of the Composition of Imagination. All week long we have been talking about the locations of Angel of Death, just kind of playing around with it, seeing like where I would like to be and all of that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to continue the conversation today with my fabulous book guardians, Tasha and Jason.
Why was your description of the castles and stuff inspired by the European castles? Because this is heaven. They don't have to be brick and mortar, so to speak, you know, where you're using stone. Now, the interior with the marble floor, I can see that.
Oh, yes.
And stuff like that, which, again,
Very
you
regal.
go. Very regal, but at the same time, they have wings. Why would they need something solid to walk on?
Because they do still walk. They don't use their wings for everything. So there's courtyards and gardens and things like that they walk around. They really only, they'll stretch their wings and fly to, if they go from grace to nirvana, because that's kind of a distance. But if they're just going from, grace to ecstasy, they may just walk, especially if they're not going there for a good purpose. So they may be like, I'm going to delay this as long as I can. I don't feel like it. Or if they mainly use their wings for, protection, battle, and if they're in a hurry for something.
In hell, the ice bridge, why is the bridge there? Considering you're in hell, you're supposed to suffer. It's supposed to be, I get it, the old adage, cold day in hell. But it's already dark. There is a volcano, but as soon as you get away from it, you start freezing. Okay, why would you create hell as a frozen place versus what the traditional thought of hell being as, fire, lava, hot pokers, heat.
Yeah.
Not, you get on this bridge, you'll immediately freeze if you don't have my permission.
It's twofold. One, as I said in an earlier video, I love Dante's Divine Comedy. And so that was kind of inspired a little bit by his most inner ring of hell, where it's just all ice. And Satan's heads are there and all that stuff. So that was kind of the inspiration, but the other part is very, I gotta try to figure out how to say it without giving too much away. So the other part of that is, it's because of Lucian's current state of mind.
He's depressed.
It has everything to do. It has everything to do with, now the ice bridge, whether he's sad, whether he's happy, whatever, that's always going to be there. That does not change because that's his protection from hellions and dark angels pestering him all the damn time. Because if it wasn't there, trust me, Evie at least probably would. It serves as, when you see in books 5 and 6, whenever the ice bridge is attempted to be crossed, bad things, the ice bridge has a mind of its own. It is very much, it's not just this block of ice. It is very much alive. And that's why the dark angels don't even try to cross it without permission, because it is very dangerous.
You had Peyton sit there, go to the University of Louisville, to go to school so she could get her degree and her master's and I think her doctorate.
She did, yes.
Okay. While she was there, she managed to meet up with different Lycan packs that roamed around Louisville. Now, I'm sure, did she, when you were sitting there thinking, okay, we're going to get her out of Murr County, was that your first thought? Was it that, or was you taking from another passage from one of your old stories and kind of, grafting that in?
To get her away from Wesley.
That was it?
That I needed her.
Put her in California.
I needed her in her past. She didn't want to go too far because she had this, potential thing to work with Cordelia. And at the time, she really believed in she believed that helping the creature, like what Cordelia was doing, was actually going to help creatures, not hurt them. It's arguable if she still believes that or knows better now. We don't know. We will learn, but we don't know. But I didn't want her to go far because she needed to come back home. And she needed to be able to come back easily.
And quickly.
So, yes. And so for her, like when she went to Louisville, Louisville was also a good place for her to go because that's where she met Derek. And that's where they fell in love, and he asked her to marry him and all that stuff. And then so finally she comes back home because she's like, hey, I've got this job waiting for me at my mom's lab. Let's do this. Yeah. And he's like, I'll do whatever you want, because he loved her that much. So it was a way to keep her close, but distance herself from Wesley to try to give him time to move on, because Peyton was the one who ended things. Not Wesley. Wesley would not have ended things if he could help it.
Is Peyton the only one who's ever left there? Is there like colleges there in?
Not in Murr County, but those who have degrees have gone elsewhere to obtain them. Okay. So like
Cordelia went to UK.
Yeah, Cordelia went to UK. Kaylee went to New York after traveling to Europe and stuff. So they have left Murr County. They're not like under this obligation or anything to stay. It's not like when you talk about the magic of the mountain, it doesn't like force them to stay there or anything. They just, I guess what you would say is home drives them back, the thought of maybe I need to be where I'm comfortable again.
Especially with their creatures. Yeah. That's like
the territory.
Yeah. Because it's like the Canadian geese. Like you see them all the time over by Amazon. And you can almost set your watch to it when they're going to start coming back, because that's where a lot of them were born.
Yeah, and that's kind of that drive especially for the creatures. Like for Kaylee, she came back because James and Cordelia had offered her a job at the DGRC, and she was about to marry Sebastian, and he was a homicide detective in New York, and he was like, you know what? Small town life would be a great change for me.
Yeah.
So he came down there, and James was like, I've got a job for you too if you want to be chief of police. So they kind of,
wow.
In order
didn't even elect him or nothing. Just said there, here you go, here's a job.
Yeah.
I just threw the other guy out.
So it's kind of a thing where it's almost like it's not the county keeping people there, it's James and Cordelia. Right. And their hold over these people that are their, subordinates.
I wouldn't even say it's a hold. It's, probably what they were offering money-wise was probably enough for them to sit there and be like, well, damn, might as well come home, because at least, I'll be close to family, but I'll be making more money than I'd make here.
The support, the money, the small-town life that some people really do desire. I mean, think about it. If you were a homicide detective in New York and you've seen your bad share of creature murders and murders done by creatures and things like that, you'd be like, I could use a breath of fresh air. Yeah. So.
What other counties have you thought of in your head that surround Murr County?
They are, I haven't thought specifically about the, counties here where it's like maybe it's Butler County, but I do know that that Lexington is about an hour and a half away.
Oh wow!
From Murr County, so they're not very close at all.
Yeah.
Not at all, but they're not very close. And they have the surrounding counties by them. I have thought about, because the reason why, to your point, in a future book, Wesley has to travel up to Lexington is because the surrounding counties don't have the resources he needs, because they are just as mountainous and tiny and, all of that as Murr County is. It's just that this thing that's happening while every county and stuff in the state, and then the states that surround Kentucky and just the world in general, they experience the creatures and they've got issues with them here and there. It's nothing like what's happening in Murr County. It's always, Murr County is always going to be much worse tenfold. Like if Indiana is experiencing an uptick in lichens killing humans, well, it's probably that Murr County is experiencing that even more. Because of, like you've been saying, the magic of the mountains. Something about that little beacon of something has gotten them to kind of be a little worse off. So it makes it more difficult, which is why they try to be self-sufficient with the McCoy farm and, not having to travel too far outside and stuff like that. So
in hell. You said that they got to go through the gates and go by a active volcano, which, by the way, I like that touch.
Yes.
I'm just picturing that, and I'm going, boy, there's a lot of places you can go, but not by an active volcano. That is a nice touch of sadism, making them go by that. But why do you have them going and walking in lines? Almost like the OEO.
Yep, the obedient slaves. The thing is, even if they wanted to roam around and leave the line, they can't. They are stuck in that line because then it's easier for the Hellions to pick off the ones they want, one by one. The sycophants come in and go, I'll have Blondie over there. And then the, demons will be like, ooh, I want that snazzy little redhead right there. So it makes it easier for them to pick and choose who they want. Almost as if they're on a display. You know what I mean? They're like a police lineup. I think it was number 4. Because if you'll notice, the sycophants, when they come in, they immediately get first pick of who they want. And the sycophants don't take the big bads. They take the easy prey.
Yeah.
Because they are too weak to face the big bad souls that, the Hitlers of the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great place to stop for this video. So be sure you subscribe to the Composition of Imagination so you don't miss anything. And join us again for more Angel of Death Anniversary Celebration.
Catch up on the Angel of Death series today. The first 4 entries are now available directly at StevieJoAuthor.com.